Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Religious Life webinar for Muslim life at Wake Forest. It's a little bit of a mouthful, I know. I'm Chaplain Imran. I will be walking you through what Muslim life has to offer at Wake Forest University. So let's start quickly. First things first, this webinar and religious life in general is brought to you through the Office of the Chaplain. So I am one of many chaplains we have here at Wake Forest University. Let me introduce them. We have our university chaplain, Chris Donald. We have our senior associate university chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Kemone Rice Jallo. Our office manager, Christine Yuha. Our assistant chaplain for Jewish life and director of Rosenblatt Family Hillel, Stephanie Marshall. Myself, Chaplain Imran, and our assistant chaplain for Hindu life and religious engagement, Dr. Akshay Gupta. So you can see we have quite a few offerings for religious life. Of course, Christian life, but also Jewish life, Hindu life, and Muslim life. And as we'll see in the next slide, chaplains are here not just for any one particular religious community, but we're able and trained to talk to people regardless of religious difference. So it doesn't matter if you are, non-religious or have a religious tradition that is not represented by a particular chaplain. We're still able and would love to, be able to provide support. So, what does a chaplain do? This is a great question that I get quite a bit. Especially from a Muslim perspective, because in our community, we're not quite used to hearing this word chaplain. It's very much more of a Christian phrase. And so when I've explained to people, whether it was before Wake Forest in the hospital or when I worked in the community, I'm a chaplain, sometimes I would get confused looks. So what does a chaplain do? Well, first things first, chaplains serve as a religious and spiritual resource for students, faculty, and staff. That basically means we're here for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a student, doesn't matter if you're a professor, doesn't matter if you're a staff member. Um, we provide, spiritual and emotional care to everyone. We're a religious slash spiritual resource. So, like I was saying, of course, we come from particular religious traditions, um, and we're here for those particular religious traditions, but we're also here for people who are outside of those religious traditions. A key aspect of chaplaincy is that we believe that everyone has a spiritual component to them. And what does that mean? It means everyone has similar kinds of needs and questions of what am I doing with my life? Um, should I participate in something that's larger than me? What gives me hope? What gives me joy? So we identify these as spiritual questions. And as chaplains, we are trained to process and help people walk through those kinds of questions. We're also an anonymous resource on campus. So we're one of two anonymous resources on campus. One is of course, us. The other is the University Counseling Center. So we work alongside them. Sometimes we will refer students to the counseling center. Sometimes the counseling center will refer students to us. We have similar skill sets, but our scopes are different. Chaplains are trained to talk and process and walk through, but we're not trained to diagnose, and certainly um, things that fall outside of our scope, we would trust our friends in the counseling center to assist. We're available for pastoral conversation and care on a variety of issues. So, what is pastoral conversation? It is conversation, again, that pays attention to these spiritual questions. It's conversation that is aimed at providing um, emotional care. It's aimed at walking with students. It's aimed at coming alongside of students and care on a variety of issues. So it could be emotional issues. It could be I'm struggling with leaving home. I miss my family. This class is really hard and it's required for my major. Maybe I don't want to be in my major. It could be relationship issues. And of course, it can be religious questions. You know, I have this religious question. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know how to make sense of it. Can you help? So we also serve as the director of religious life for our particular traditions. So I am the director of Muslim life at Wake Forest. What does that mean? It means that I'm responsible for overseeing the broad contours of what Muslim life looks like. It means offering religious programming. It means working alongside our student organization, the Muslim Student Organization. It means advocating for the religious needs of Muslim students. So one simple example is during Ramadan, we need to make sure that everyone has food for iftar and suhoor. And so one of my roles as the director of Muslim Life is to help make sure that that goes smoothly. We're available at critical times to facilitate rites of passage, weddings, funerals, and memorial services. Of course, we hope some of these things don't happen on a college campus, but sometimes they do. When there's a crisis, chaplains will often be there. Now, we're not only there for crises, but when there is a crisis, you can expect to find us there. We offer spiritual direction or guidance to members of the Wake Forest community. Of course, we come from particular religious traditions, and those religious traditions have stories, have wisdom. When you come to a chaplain, of course, you're hoping maybe just to talk through your issues, but also you may be hoping to find some kind of particular guidance or wisdom. So we can offer that. And of course, we do this through a variety of ways. It could be conversation. It could be prayer. It could be reading. It could be meditation. Um, it depends on what the person in front of us is looking for, what helps them process, and also what we offer as chaplains from our own traditions. So there was a lot there, but hopefully that helps explain a little bit about what a chaplain does. My elevator spiel, which is not fully accurate, but I say often we're religious counselors. People kind of say, "Oh, okay, I can understand that," but we do a little bit more, and we don't fully do everything a counselor does. So but people get it. We also have a variety of other religious life professionals that we work with at Wake Forest. These are people who may advise or assist other religious student organizations, but are not full-time employees of Wake Forest. So that's one thing that distinguishes other religious life professionals from chaplains. We are hired by the university. Many of these are Christian organizations, Athletes in Action, Baptist Student Union. Chabad is another Jewish organization alongside Hillel. Where can you find us? Sorry, I was switching my slide. So what I was going to say is for Muslims, we have one student organization, and I'll get to that a little bit later. One student organization on campus, which is the Muslim Student Organization, uh, whereas I serve as the advisor. So it's very much completely in-house. Um, some organizations have national branches. But the MSA is entirely in-house. Where can you find us? So the chaplain's office is split between two locations. If you're on campus, um, this is how I get around. I've been here for a year. I still get around through GPS. So I'll just type in the name of the building. Google Maps will come up and I will hope that it's leading me in the right direction. But we're split between two different locations, and you can type this in your GPS. Our university chaplain our senior associate university chaplain, and our office manager are located in Reynolda in Suite 8. So if you're on campus and you're going to the pit in Reynolda, our office is just a few steps down from the pit entrance. Across the hall, we also have a chaplain's lounge. This is open to students unless there's a meeting going on or it's reserved. Students will come in. We have tea, coffee, couches. I've seen students take a nap. Students hang out to do their work. It's a quiet space. If you're looking for Muslim life, Hindu life, and Jewish life specifically, we are in the Benson University Center, Suite 317. So the main floor. And you just, if you're looking at the information desk, you go straight uh, down from the information desk and then take a left, and you'll find our office. So the last thing before we get into Muslim life, that's important to know about the chaplain's office in general is something called the Chaplain's Emergency Fund. So this is a fund that we have. It's supported by donations, mostly donations, and we provide assistance for students, faculty, staff, and contract workers. So it's really across the board. Anyone who needs assistance, um, things come up, you know. Uh, Maybe you run out of meal swipes, you can't pay for food, something comes up. Maybe there's a family emergency and you really need to take a plane. So these are some of the kinds of things that, and you don't have money, right? You're saying, I don't have money for this. What am I going to do? This is something the Chaplaincy Emergency Fund can help with. Um, all you have to do is basically go to our Reynolda office, talk to our office manager, and say, I need help. What can I do? And she will work with you to best support you in a way that also takes in mind things like financial aid. We don't want to mess up financial aid. So she's very good at making sure people can get the assistance that they need in a way that protects their other financial assistance. And maybe you don't need this. Maybe you're fine, right? But someone you do know is struggling. This is the perfect thing to let them know about, right? If they're saying, "Hey, I'm really struggling. I don't have money." This is a great resource for that. All right. So now let's get into Muslim life at Wake Forest. This is uh, our logo, Muslim Wake Forest University Muslim Life. So what does Muslim Life offer at Wake? We offer a few things, but I'll break it down. The first thing is Islamic chaplaincy. So not every university has Islamic chaplaincy. Um, a lot of universities have Muslim student organizations, the MSA, um, but not every university has a Muslim chaplain. And I think this is important for a few reasons. Um, you know, we are trained professionals. Um, I was trained in a clinical setting. I worked in a hospital for 2 years in terms of providing spiritual and emotional care. But I also have several degrees in Islamic studies as well. So we are trained individuals who can help walk with students and help them process questions that they're asking in a non-judgmental way. So sometimes students are afraid of religious people, right? Maybe they had a local imam and they went to ask a question, and the imam just said, read Quran, pray more. Or maybe they went to their parents, they said, I have a question, and their parents said, don't worry about it, right? Don't think about it, don't ask questions. Or maybe, someone said, look, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And they go to their imam, they ask a question, and the imam says, just read Ayatul Kursi, right? And it's not obviously not that reading Quran or praying are bad, but these are not answers or solutions for the issue that that person was seeking, right? And so one thing that we do as chaplains is that we're able and trained to listen and to work with the person in front of us. You know, what's bothering you? What's important to you? What are you looking for? Um, what's working? What's not working? We're not here to offer a blanket solution, right? Read Quran, pray more. No, that's not what we do, right? We're here to work with students and help process and kind of build those skills and really encourage them to um, think through what's important to them, what do they want, what. Um, so I think that's a big deal. And like I said, not every university has chaplaincy, but some of the biggest universities do have chaplaincy. So Yale, for example, has a Muslim chaplain. Duke University has a Muslim chaplain. And I think one of the great things that Wake Forest offers is that we do have a Muslim chaplain. We have a Hindu chaplain. That's very unusual, you know. Not that I'm, Hindu life giving the Hindu life presentation, but it's something that I want to point out, right? Because it is unique. Um, what else do we offer? We offer regular Friday prayers. So, um, the Muslim Student Association has a lounge, which also doubles as a prayer space. Something that I'm doing this year, though, is we're going to be using two different locations as a prayer space. That way, we can kind of uh, expand what prayer looks like. You know, make prayer a little bit more central. So, some of our first prayers are going to be in the Benson University Center, and then, of course, we'll go to the Muslim Student Lounge. Um, as well. And this is just to open things up, and let people know that we're here, right? That Muslims are here, that we have prayers. Sometimes the Muslim Student Lounge is a little bit out of the ways and people don't know quite where to find it. So, having our first prayers and having semi-regular prayers in Benson, which is a much more central location, we hope to really let people know that that's something we offer. Um, Friday prayers, I will typically lead the Friday prayers. I will typically give the khutbah, but I always encourage students, if you want to lead prayers, please do. This is something that I think is really important. I think it's so valuable for students to lead Jummah. I think it helps build confidence. I think it helps build leadership skills, right? Even quiet, small leadership skills, right? I think those build up. I also encourage students, hey, if you are comfortable, give the khutbah. Give the khutbah. And it's of course a little bit daunting. Um, but I say, I'm able to help. I'm able to work with you to help write the khutbah if that's something that you want. But I encourage students, please get involved in Joma. It is a very valuable thing. And the last thing is spiritual programming, which is an extremely broad and vague term. Um, but let me give a few examples. So, last year, I gave regular monthly presentations on some Islamic topic. So, one month we had a presentation about the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, through the lens of social justice, right? Through the lens of social justice. Another presentation was Islam and the natural world, right? Islam and the environment. What can we as Muslims do um, to help our planet? And, what does our religion say about ecology? right? Does it say anything? Does it say a lot? Um, Something I'm planning on doing is probably moving those presentations to a virtual format. I found that it's a lot easier for people to watch and engage virtually. Um, so that's one example. Another example is and something that we will be doing this upcoming 2025-2026 school year is something called dua processing circles. So, just as a quick rundown, these are circles where students can come together and be in a very vulnerable space and really just have an opportunity to go around and share what they're feeling, what's been happening, um, what's been bothering them, what's been weighing on their minds, and also what's been helping them. And we'll typically go around the circle and finish with a group dua, right? We lift our emotions and our voices up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to kind of close things out. But I think it's a great space because students, in particular, I would say all of us, but students in particular, don't have a lot of spaces where they can be vulnerable, where they can share their emotions. And especially when they can share their emotions and hear that others are struggling with similar things. Sometimes when we share our emotions, we can feel like I'm alone in feeling this. I'm feeling, um, really bothered by final exams, right? I don't know if I can do it. Well, um, sometimes it can help to know that there's a lot of your peers who are feeling the exact same way. And we also talk about what's helping, right? Because sometimes when we're feeling really down and we don't know like what to do, sometimes it can really help to hear someone else say, "Well, this is what I'm doing, and this is what helps me." So I think it's a great way for really students to come together as a community, to be vulnerable, um, and it's a risk. It is a risk, right? Because you have to choose to be vulnerable. But I think the benefits far outweigh the risk. So something else that Muslim Life offers is these what I call Islam 101 materials. Um, these are small pamphlets, and I mean really one page folded, right? So two pages of content around specific topics related to Islam. So you can see here Islamophobia, difference in Islam, Islam in Asia, all of these things. Um, and my goal in creating this was to make something um, easy and accessible for students who either want to learn more about Islam, whether they're from a Muslim background or a non-Muslim background, or who have a specific question, um, and that they don't have to search or go down rabbit holes, right? So, maybe you've experienced this, but you have a question about Islam, and there's no one close that you can ask, and so you go on Google, right? Sheikh Google. And Google's wonderful, right? We have so much information at our fingertips, but what happens is we don't know, maybe we don't have the background, to understand what is good information, what is bad information, or we don't have the background to tell the nuance of, maybe this website says this is haram, this website says it's halal, and you say, well, I don't know what's true. And other times you can get pulled down into rabbit holes. Maybe you have a website that on the surface looks trustworthy and scholarly, but in reality, the credentials of that person are zero, right? And they can get pulled into a rabbit hole and um, it could be very difficult. So what I wanted to do was create some resources where um, students didn't have to start on Google. right? That they can open this little pamphlet and say, maybe they come from a Muslim household, but they weren't very active. Well, how do I get back into it? How do I pray? What is wudu? What is ghusl? How do I make that? Well, now you can come, you can grab a pamphlet, you can open it, and you can read it. And you can say, oh, I see. Right. And maybe people are too uncomfortable to talk to the chaplain at first. So they can grab a pamphlet and say, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then my goal, my hope, is that it can create a conversation between that student and then myself. Right. They come read the pamphlet and they say, "Oh, I have some more questions. I wonder about that." And maybe they come to maybe they come to Friday prayers, maybe they come to my office, maybe they talk to some of the Muslim students and they say, I'm curious about this. Tell me more." So we have quite a few of these. These are just a few. There's, I think, 12 in total, so four more. Um, And they're just available outside of the chaplain's office. You can grab them. I tried to make them very colorful so that they're appealing. We also have, in addition to programs, we have events. So on the left, we have our Muslim Baptist cookout. This is something that I inherited coming into the position. It's something that the Baptist Student Union and the MSA do in partnership, and now I also do this in partnership with their advisor. And it's a wonderful event. There's really no agenda. There's no, um, it's not like a comparative theology uh, meeting. It's nothing like that. It's really just a way for students to come together where they might not have been able to come together before, just because they're in different circles, and to meet each other across differences and just get to know one another and have food and have fun conversation. We roasted halal marshmallows over the fire, made some halal s'mores, so that was wonderful. It's a great event. Happens usually pretty early in the year, September, October time. So it's when the weather starts getting a little cooler as well. Um, it's wonderful. To our right, we have Fastathon. So this is something also that I inherited. We're entering, I believe, our fifth year of Fastathon. And this is an event that occurs during Ramadan, uh, near the end of Ramadan, I think for the past few years. And it's an opportunity for non-Muslim students to fast alongside their Muslim peers, right? So non-Muslim students and faculty and staff are invited to fast. And then it culminates in a community iftar for the entire school. The entire school is invited. Um, a public prayer. We pray Maghrib and then we eat. Um, and it's a lot of fun. We had fire pits. So the university has fire pits outside with chairs and things like that. So that they were able to turn on the fire pits um, and just have a really great time. A lot of people came out. I think we had over 100 people. And it's just a great way to, celebrate together. And I think, when we talk about Ramadan and iftar, is one of the biggest things is community. And just people joining together and eating. And this is a wonderful event that I think really uh embodies that. So last year, we also had a capstone Eid event, or at least I'm calling it a capstone Eid event. It was celebrating Eid at Wake Forest. And we invited Riaz Kowali. So Kowali is a art form originating from South Asia. Um, and it originates within the Sufi tradition, the Sufi Muslim tradition. Of course, at this point it's become much more expansive. And Riaz Kawali, they're based in the United States, but they're a wonderful group. Um, Lovely to have them. We we had a wonderful concert in our recital hall, which is very close to the Benson University Center. We had a great turnout, and we're hoping to have them back again this year as well. Something that I wanted to do is, uh, especially for Eid, to have some kind of celebration, to have some kind of, campus-wide event. Um, and so I hope to replicate this and um, maybe maybe even have something more. I joke with some of the students that I wanted a Ferris wheel. Um, and I wouldn't mind a Ferris wheel, to be honest. Hello everyone. My apologies. I had to pause the recording. Hope there wasn't too much of a gap in the recording. I guess I'll see. But like I was saying, yeah, I would love to get a Ferris wheel, bouncy house. Some of these masjids for Eid will have bouncy houses, food trucks. I would love to do something like that for this Eid, in addition to having Riaz Kawali back. Um, you know, Even though that Riaz Kawali is a uh, Muslim, you know, group, or Qawwali is a Muslim art form, and in its origins, it is also coming from a particular cultural context as well. And one thing that I want to do, um, either for Eid or just in general, really, is to highlight the different cultures that make up Islam, um, and work with different groups on campus to do that. Sometimes we can make the mistake, right, of assuming that Islam is only Islam for Desis or for Arabs, right? Of course, it's not true. And so, uh, highlighting different cultural events um, is definitely something that I would love to continue to do more of. And so, inshallah, we will hopefully do that. If not this year, then in the coming years. So we have the Muslim Student Association. I spoke briefly about them before, um, but this is really the student expression of Muslim life. So they are, as the Muslim chaplain, serve as their advisor, but I do not control the MSA. They are independent. So they can make their own events, they can make their own programming. They can either choose to come or to not come to my programming. It's completely, um, yeah, independent in that way. As their advisor, I will uh, advise them. I will assist. Um, if they need assistance, um, I will give them, guidance on certain things. Uh, and we will partner on certain events. So Fastathon, for instance, has a component where the MSA will speak, but most of the planning happens through my office, right? So there's also collaboration between the Muslim students and also myself. Um, what are some of the benefits of joining the MSA? I think MSA is unique among student organizations, because there's a lot of things it has to think about and has to react to and worry about that other student organizations wouldn't. The golf team, I don't know if we have a golf team, but a student organization dedicated to literature or golf or whatever is not going to have the same pressures and concerns as the Muslim Student uh, Association. There are realities of the world that we live in, Islamophobia, racism, misogyny, all of these things that um, Muslims have to deal with, um, that other students don't, or certainly not in the same way. Um, and it can create a very challenging environment, but I think it can also create a very fruitful environment. So it provides students with leadership opportunities. Um, because again, you're navigating things that other student organizations don't, and you have to, I think, have skills that other student organizations don't. Because at the end of the day, while not every Muslim is a part of the MSA or attends MSA meetings or events, um, the MSA is a group that ideally, I think, should speak to Muslims. And that's a big responsibility. The MSA also can help shape Muslim experience on campus. So the MSA does regular iftars during Ramadan, for instance. It hosts an Islam Awareness Week to help spread information about Muslims before Ramadan and Fastathon. It partners with different groups on campus. So recently, this past Ramadan or Eid actually, we had MSA partner with Afro Casa, which is the African Caribbean Student Organization for an Eid celebration. And so there's a lot of ability for the MSA to really help shape and define what that student experience looks like for Muslims on campus. And like I said, there's room to plan and create events with other student organizations. So this is definitely something that um, we're continuing to do, and something that has been done in the past. So every November, December time, MSA will partner with the Hindu student group, for instance, to do something called Holiday Fest. Um, so there's just lots of different student groups with similar interests or similar backgrounds that can come together, and I think the MSA is a great vehicle to have students experience that. And of course, from my perspective, uh, I don't think Muslim students have to join the MSA. I recognize that that might not be their place. We have Muslim students in the BSA, the Black Student Alliance. We have Muslim students in AfroCasa. We have Muslim students in other student groups as well. And that's okay. I'm not someone who says that, Muslim students all need to be in the MSA. My goal as the Muslim chaplain, or my hope, I should say, is really to encourage students to participate in Muslim life in some way. Maybe it's a program, maybe it's one of my programs, maybe it's one of the MSA's events, maybe it's one of their iftars, maybe it's one of my iftars, right? Maybe it's the Eid event. All that to say is, I want to let the Muslim students know, and faculty and staff as well, that community exists, Muslim community exists, um, and if that's what they're looking for, uh, they can find it. And even if it's not with the MSA, that I hope they participate and engage with it in some way, right? In some way, yeah, I think it's important. So that's it for Muslim life. We're going to be moving into some important dates. Um, in particular, for these first two dates are going to be for first year students. Um, this is during our new Deek week, our orientation week. This is the Office of the Chaplain Family Reception. So this is for families, parents, and students, but especially parents. In Reynolds Gym, A405, and on this day there will be people there to point you in the right direction. So don't worry about that. From 3 to 5 p.m., Thursday, August 21st. And you can meet our Christian life organizations, Jewish life organizations, as well as Muslim life and Hindu life. Um, and it's a great way for parents especially to know what's available. Of course, once a student is in school, they're free, but still, we encourage parents to come to kind of make those connections. We love making those community connections. So that's the first date that's important. The second date is important. Um, for I believe for first year students, but of course other students can come. I'm not sure the specifics of the housing situation when returning students come if they're here by now, but for first year students, I believe returning students will come by this time. Um, but this is our religious life student open house. So this is where students can come and meet our specific religious groups. So, religious student groups, I should say. So, MSA will be there, have a table. This is an opportunity to hang out with classmates, meet student representatives of these different groups, and pick up merchandise. Stickers are big. If you're a new or incoming student, you'll know stickers are a huge part of Wake Forest's economy. So this is an opportunity to grab some of those. And this will be in the Wellbeing Living Room in the Sutton Center. And again, um, for new students, there will be, I recommend GPS. I'm sure there's maps as well to help get around. And finally, this is on the first week of classes. Um, this is the Welcome Back Muslim Life Drama, of course, for students, but also faculty and staff if they want to, but primarily for students. Friday, August 29th, the khutbah starts at 1:30 p.m., and this will be in Benson University Center, room 410. So this is an opportunity to meet some of your fellow Muslim students, to meet myself. I'm going to be handing out, packets and information of um, of Muslim life goodies. So this could be a great opportunity if you would like to attend. And finally, this is the last slide. How do you stay updated with Muslim life? So there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can check out the Muslim Life Instagram at Wake Forest or WFU Muslim Life. I post updates on programming there, along with a variety of other content, and it's a great place to stay connected. The other way is to email myself, hawkj@wakeforestu.edu. Um, if you have questions, concerns, um, ways to get engaged, it, you know, feel free to reach out. And the other thing you can do is you can contact me to be put on the Muslim Life newsletter. So there is a semi-regular Muslim Life newsletter. The past year, my newsletter was a little bit not the most punctual, but inshallah this year it will be a regular monthly newsletter. And it will contain information about upcoming programs, upcoming events, and also just some general insights or guidance from the Islamic tradition that I like to put in that newsletter. So those are the ways that you can stay connected with Muslim life. That's about all I have for this presentation. Thank you everyone for watching. If you're watching, um, again, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please email me. Don't hesitate. And for new and returning students, I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming year. I'm recording this. This is July right now, so we have a little bit of time before the start of classes, but it's coming up. It's coming up in August, so I look forward to seeing everyone. I hope everyone has a great rest of your summer. Um, and I hope the start of the school year is smooth. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.